Hi everybody, and welcome to BUAD 301, section 20860. This is your online advanced business communications course. And my name is Michael Collins, and I'll be in charge of the course for the next couple of months. And it's going to run from January 4th to February 28th, 2016. So I wanted to share a few things with you. Number one is that we're going to walk through the syllabus, and over the course we'll have multiple videos that we'll be able to view to provide some direction for you. But most importantly, we need to start off on the right foot. And granted, there is a Word document that you can print out with the syllabus, but I don't think you get the same effect as you would as if I were speaking to you, because there's some nuances and some things that I want you to know that you might not be able to pick up from the written document. So with that in mind, let's dive in. Okay, as you can see, my office is the Mahalo building in 4329, and there's my office phone right here. So hardly ever there, but when I am there, it's Wednesday 3 to 4, Thursday 2 to 4, and Friday 11 to 12. And those are my office hours. So generally there faithfully. And I do have a cell phone that I have strictly for this line of work. And this is it right here, 714-860-2153. Now, I only check that about once a day, and not at all on Saturdays. So keep that in mind. Saturday I usually take off because I need at least one day off away from school, like I'm sure most of you can understand. So, but the office hours and everything else, that's a way to reach me, but usually the best way is email. So I check that multiple times a day, but again, I don't do that on Saturdays. So, all right. So let's go. All right. Here are the course description. I'm not going to read it for you. You can read that part. It's usually generally boilerplate stuff. But basically, you're going to be able to write a little bit better than whenever you first came in here. This is a little bit different from the 201, whereas the 201 was just skill building. This is going to involve a lot more critical thinking skills, mainly because the department requires that we use so many cases. In this particular case, or this particular instance, I should say, we're going to have, let's see, 5 cases altogether, and they count for a tremendous portion of the grade. 4 of them will be as part of your homework, and the 5th will be the final examination. More about that later. Now, as far as prerequisites go, you did need to take a 201 before you got in here, and 101 as well, which the 101 is primarily about basic writing skills, and the 201 is the skill building, where you learn how to write memos, emails, executive summaries, that sort of thing. So we're not going to spend a lot of time learning those types of things in here. Like I say, a great deal of emphasis is placed on case analysis and presentation projects, and we'll get to that in a second. So let's go on. All right, here are the required textbooks: Management Communications Principles and Practice, 3rd edition by Hatters, Lee McJanet. If you can get this thing used, do so. It's small paperback, but it's pretty expensive. Sorry about that, not my choice. The other is the Business Writer's Handbook, 10th edition. This is a keeper. This is something you should keep with you for the rest of your career. And then we also have the McGraw-Hill Custom Case Book. These are the cases that we'll use. And there's the ISBN number, but whenever you go online, you'll see a link to the Cal State University storefront. So if you can't get there from by searching the ISBN at the McGraw-Hill, look for that link, and if you can't find it, let me know. I'll send you the link, but it should be at the top of the page whenever it talks about. I think there's title that says books and custom casebook or something like that, but it's in the introduction of the first week, so don't fret. These are the requirements you'll need. You'll definitely have to be able to have an up-to-date computer with the hardware, that sort of thing. This is kind of funny that we even put this out here like this, but yeah, it's you'll probably need better than this. This is stuff that the business school makes us put on the syllabus, so hope you got a laugh out of it. But the long and the short of it is that because this is an online course, you're going to be required to have more advanced technical skills with regard to the computer. And again, I'll get back to that. But minimally, you should be proficient in Microsoft and PowerPoint, and use of internet, emailing, attaching emails, and so forth. This is not the place to learn it, so if you don't know it, you'd be wise to take some tutorials very quickly, or find another way, because we just don't have the time or the means to teach that sort of thing here. And so everything's done online, so I'm looking at course format right here. Presentations, group interaction, editing will all necessitate possessing e-communication skills that are complementary to this learning platform. Again, what that means is that you will be required to know how to use computer, PowerPoint, that sort of thing, embed video files, audio files, that sort of thing. So you'll be doing group and individual presentations like PowerPoint, YouTube, that sort of thing. So now would be a good time to start learning if you don't know already. All right, ethics, again, we do a lot of work with that. Most of the cases that we'll work with involve ethical dilemmas, so something to keep in mind. Academic dishonesty, the short answer to this is don't do it. A lot of people think that because they work in an online environment that they can get away with it easier, but believe me, it shows up. And what happens typically is that you get reported, they call you in, they chew you out, they put your name in the book. You could fail the course, or whatever the assignment is. It's pretty much up to the professor. Typically I fail the student for the whole course. But let me just give you, walk that back a little bit. It hardly ever happens. So I've had two serious cheating incidents, and caught dead rights. Most people don't do it, so you don't do it. That way we can avoid it, because reality is it's the teacher who gets punished, not the student. We have to fill out so much paperwork, and there's so many man-hours expended to pursue this. I just really appreciate it if you just take the extra step and not do it, because it's a major bother for everybody concerned. All right, let's keep going. Assessment activities. Generally what that means is that one of our senior people will look in on your work and make sure that you guys are performing at the standard that you should be. For example, we're going to be doing a assessment exam of your writing the first week that you're here, and your final exam will be the assessment, the exit assessment. So make sure that whenever I send you the diagnostic exam that you make sure that you do it, and your final examination will be the other. So typically people get better as they go through this course. Most people do. So that's how we'll do the assessment. Emergency procedures, familiarize yourself with those things. Not too much of a big deal whenever for online courses, so but we got to put those in the syllabi anyway. So okay, here's what the grading system looks like. It's a little stricter. For example, if you get a 70, 72, that's a failing grade in the business school. So you don't want that. Usually the online students do a lot better than the in-class students, mainly because they're older, more mature, more motivated. They have a vested interest in their own success. Nobody pays for this for them. Just fill in the blank, fill in the reason. But usually they do better. So, but having said that, A's are very difficult to get in here as well. Typically, A is for top tier performers, and they're not handed out very easily. And what is required to get an A, we'll talk about whenever we go over the rubric. But basically, it's employing critical thinking skills that are superior to your peers. The grammar, the literacy, the spelling, all that is flawless. You approach problem solving from a solid business perspective, a realistic manner, that sort of thing. So, as I said, we'll cover more of that later. These are the type of things that we're going to be doing, some skill building exercises. We're not done with them completely, but we are going to use them. Case analysis, as I said, the first one will be more or less a gimme. It's just a walkthrough. Let's just see how we do. And then we'll have 3 that count for real. You also have an individual analytic report. That's kind of really a misnomer, sort of. When I say analytic report, I mean you're going to pretend like you're in Shark Tank. And if you don't know what Shark Tank is, look up at CNBC or YouTube. You're going to make a pitch to the rest of the class about why we should give you some money to finance your startup business, something like that. Then you have your presentation of group proposal. If you just participate at all, you'll get 50 points. And your analytic group proposal by the group, yes, there's group work, accounts for 150 points. Now, a lot of people probably, I can't hear you groan, but if I could hear you groan, that's probably what you'd be doing right now. You're like, oh, group work, why? Well, I agree, it stinks, but our accrediting body, the AACSB, says that you have to do it. So when they say we have to do it, we have to do it, and I'm sorry for that. But when you think about it in the big picture, this is what you're moving toward anyway, is managing people and resources. And you can't do that individually. It has to be done in a group. Business is all about working with people. So regrettably, we do have to work in groups, but most people find it worthwhile. There are a few problems along the way. Some people experience them, and if we do, for example, if we have people who are not participating, we can always shuffle around the groups and put the non-participants all in one group and watch the fun. But usually that doesn't happen, but it does happen occasionally. So, everybody do their job, pull their weight, and we shouldn't have any issues. We also have participation, just general homework stuff. Class interaction counts for 10%. The final, as I said, counts for 25% of the total grade. And again, that's decided at the 3rd floor of the Mahalo building, the dean's office, not by me. So I really don't agree with that, but they pay my salary, so they say that's how we got to do it, then that's how we got to do it. So altogether, we're looking at 1,000 points for 100% of your grade. Okay, as I said, we talked about the exams just a second ago. Your exam will be held on February 27th, and you'll have to make an appointment with ProctorU, so make sure you do that. Basically what they do is they monitor you the entire time that you take the exam. It's about like 2 hours long or something like that. So, it's pretty easy, but you have to do it. Personally, I hate it. I hate using ProctorU because it's more trouble that I feel like it's worth. But they want to make sure you're doing the work yourself. So again, that's decided on the third floor, not by me. So that's the way we're going to do it. Here's some things, or some notes about taking the written final exam. You can read those on your own. And we'll get a little more about that as we get closer. No exams, cases, studies will be dropped. And there is no extra credit in this class, so keep that in mind. Okay, here are the key things. You really don't need to know all this stuff, but this is the stuff that the AACSB, our accrediting agency, says that we have to cover and post in our syllabus. So, here it is. Basically, you need to know how to work with meetings, deliverables like case analysis, feedback listening, crisis communications, that sort of thing. Teamwork, executive summaries, so on and so forth. Ethics, global issues, blah, blah, blah. Technical difficulties. Tell me the day, the night of the course, when your homework is due, that you can't do it. That's not going to cut it. There are libraries. There are other places you can get your work done. So I can't help you with the IT stuff. It's out of my. It's not something I do. So sorry. If I could, I would, but I just don't. I can't. So I don't know anything to walk you through it. Okay, special accommodations. If you need it, get it. But I can't do anything for you unless you call the Office of Disabled Student Services. I have to have the notification from them. It has to be from them, not from you. Sorry. Etiquette, expected behavior. Basically, act like adults. There are going to be difficulties and disagreements and so on. But we still have to get along. So, here are the key things. Make sure your spelling and grammar good. Always. Work is timely. Be proactive. Take responsibility. And be nice. Proofread your stuff. Always, always, always. Proofread your stuff. Okay, so let's get into the calendar. Week 1 is pretty much, we're just going to get the ball rolling here. Introduction, syllabus, diagnostic exam. More on that later. Week 2, we're going to do our first case analysis. It's not going to be a team, but it's going to be our first case analysis. And I'm going to show you some videos. Probably going to form up in teams. You're going to create a learning team charter, that sort of thing. And also, I'm going to try to get a recorded session and some resources for you for the library. This is really important. The man you need to talk to, the business librarian, is Robert Sage. I would strongly recommend, as a group or individuals, to go over there and meet with him, because he is a bottomless pit of knowledge regarding the knowledge and skill sets that you're required to be able to do not only your group project but your individual projects. And keep in mind, a lot of the cases, it provides you with the information, but if you go out and do some external research, your case analysis will be so much better. Believe me, there are a lot of things that just if you look at it from a superficial point of view, it's going to show up in how you produce your documents. So make sure that you utilize the library, because number one, they're there to help, and number two, it's going to make your product so much better. Okay, week 3, we will be doing internal proposal. That's mainly what you're going to be doing as your Shark Tank project for your individual proposal. No big deal. Just need to have an idea after your library session what it is you want to do. Now, you may already know. The idea would be, like, let's say, for example, that you wanted to own a chain of tire stores. Well, you got to start with the first one. So you would make a presentation to us like why you want to open up a tire store in Fullerton, California, and why your tire store is going to be so much better than the tire store 5 miles down the road, that sort of thing. So. Also, the second case, this one is going to count for real. It's worth 100 points or 10% of your grade, so better bring it that week. Week 4, visual enhancements. I want you to use the visual enhancements you learn or may already possess in week 4 and place them liberally throughout your individual and group reports. And that will be the usual things like growth charts, bar charts, Gantt charts, chain of command, those type of things, the typical graphics that you'll find in most business reports. More on that later. We'll have case 3 and week 5, negative performance appraisal. Very important because as managers you'll have to lead people. And to do that, you'll have to correct them. And this is probably one of the most difficult things to do. You may also have to let them go, and that's something that you should know how to do, not only as a leader, but also to protect the company, because if you do it poorly, it could negatively affect your career, and it could also affect the bottom line of the company you work for, so make sure you do it correctly. Week 5 is case 4, which will also require the production of a press release. These are one of the requirements that the AACSB says we have to do. Week 6 is pretty light. It's just getting you a slack period to prepare for week 7 and week 8, which will be the presentations. Week 7 will be your individual report. It'll be graded in 2 parts: the written portion, which counts for 40%, and the presentation portion, which counts for 60%, for a total of 100 points. You will be required to be on camera for a good portion of that. What a lot of people like to do is they videotape themselves, and from like the waist up in excuse me, in business casual business attire, and embed the video inside of the PowerPoint. You can also do that with Prezi as well. Same thing for the team presentation proposals. All team members will be required to present. All team members will be required to be on camera for a good portion of the presentation. Each team member will be required to present for about 5 minutes. The teams will probably be around 3 people, and each team member about 5 minutes will be that will be their requirement. You'll get 50 points just for being part of the team, and 150 points will be available for the project. 60% of that will be on the oral, the video presentation, and 40% of that will be on the written portion. So, word of the wise, choose your best editor to do your written document. And then finally, we have the final exam, which is worth 250 points. Altogether, counts for 1,000 points. Okay, now I'm going to talk a little bit about the rubric, the CLASS rubric. So the screen is going to go black for just a second and then reopen on that. So look forward to working with all of you. I'm positive that you'll come out better at the end because of it. And thanks for the opportunity to teach you all. I really appreciate the effort that you're going to bring to this class, and I'm looking forward to working with all of you. Thank you very much. Okay, here's the class rubric. It's CLASS. Now, if I were to give you guys some advice, and I am, I would learn this thing backwards and forwards, because this is how you will be evaluated on your cases, which, again, as I said, counts for 30%. Your written portion of your individual presentation, which will be, I believe, 40% of the 100 points, so 40 points. And then finally, your final exam will be using this rubric. So it's very important that you know this rubric from the beginning. So there are 5 portions of it. It's called content, literacy, audience, strategy, and style. Now the content, it's more about, do you understand what's being asked of you? Do you understand all the facts and the ideas that are presented in the reading? Does it make sense? And are you able to present to the reader that you understand what it means? Now, at the very least, you should be looking for a good here. You handled all of the amount, and this is it right here. Look over here. Handled all of the elements of the case of the skill. You develop and support your ideas in a better and average way. Okay, pretty straightforward. On the other hand, a very poor. This is what you don't want. You misinterpret the case assignment. You make major factual errors, and you miss 2 or more elements of the case. Yeah, that'll get you failing grade for the assignment. You don't want that. So make sure. Let me just provide you with a little more advice here. Read the case once. Go back, read it a second time. Highlight key points. Make notes in the margin. Make yourself a little structured format about how you're going to present your ideas, and this should help you in that portion. Okay, on to the next. Literacy, very important. You see the little asterisks right there. If you fail this portion, you fail all of it. So, again, we talked about earlier about proofreading. Let's look at the good. Right here it says, proofreads well enough to eliminate most grammatical errors, may have minor problems with punctuation or usage, which is okay. You can make a couple of mistakes because we understand that you're writing this in class, so pressure's on, and you don't have the time to do a thorough evaluation. But that's no excuse for poorly crafted work. Because number one, at the top of the word, it has a spell and grammar checker. And number 2, you should come into this with the skill sets necessary to produce a reasonably coherent and well structured, well-written document. Over here, these 2 makes numerous serious grammatical or syntactical errors, frequently spells, fails to spell check, exhibits carelessness, run-ons, fragments, unintelligible sentences, no excuse for that. If we see that, you're automatically down to a 73. I'm 72, which is a failing grade in this course. And then it can get worse, because it usually does. If you do poorly on the literacy, chances are you do made mistakes elsewhere. Okay, third section, audience. Do you use a positive reader emphasis? In other words, do you consider the reader's point of view whenever you write? A lot of people, particularly whenever you're writing English essays and things like that, you use your internal voice and try to project onto the page your ideas and goals and so forth. Not so in business writing. The reader is always the focus of the writing, always. So you're going to have to unlearn some things here. Writing is always centered around the type of reader that you have. So if it's not reader focused, then it's not good writing. Okay, now the strategy, which is the fourth thing. Is it effective? Let me give you an example. For example, a company may have committed an ethical error, or may have done something that a past officer did something that was inappropriate. I've had students say, well, we should apologize, we should shut down the company, sell off the assets, and make amends. Well, that's a nice moral point of view, but businesses are in business to perpetuate earnings, to provide value for the stockholders, and so forth. So a crazy answer like that is not going to fly. So make sure that it's practical. Like we say over here in the good category, employs good strategy, finds a fresh way of solving the problem, and you effectively sequence ideas. So the example that I just gave you employs good strategy. When I said selling off all the assets, that's not good strategy. A fresh way to solve the problem, that could be a lot of different ways. But what I'm looking for specifically here is not an answer that is readily transparent on the page. What I'm looking for is to use your creative thinking skills in order to come up with some idea. Like, for example, in the case that I just gave you, a Twitter campaign, the president of the company going on TV and providing an apology that is heartfelt, providing free samples, being transparent, all these things. So it's very important. And finally, style. Word choice, clarity, conciseness, fluidity. If you plagiarize, automatic failure. So style is also organization of the document. You'll see right here, readable format. Design helps reader find the information they need. So that would involve uses of subheaders, titles, bullet points, indentations, that sort of thing. Here's what we want at the very least. Writer clearly, concisely, coherently employs syntactical variety with general success. Let me emphasize this, concisely. Concisely. You know, a lot of times the people come into the class thinking that they are going to carry over from the tradition in English 101. No, less is more. I'll say that again. You don't want to write a lot, you want to write less, but you want to do it in a way that is tight, very tight writing. That's what we used to say when I was a journalist. The guy can write tight, it means he can pack a lot of ideas in a short amount of space, and that's what you want. Usually you will not get more than a page and a half to write your case. And a lot of people have a struggle with that. Other instructors won't even allow you to go over a page. I typically allow a page and a half because I like to be able to have some white space in my document to be able to read it. But that said, the goal here is to write clearly, concisely, and coherently. And don't use the same words, phrases over and over again. Be positive, friendly, and businesslike, and make sure you format it well. Okay, well, that's it. So I'm looking forward to seeing you all the second week, and I apologize that I wasn't able to make it this time, but I think we're going to have a lot of fun. I think we're going to learn a lot, and I appreciate that your willingness to be here. You'll definitely walk out with more skill sets than you came in with, and that will be our goal. So if you have any questions, let me know. Drop by and see me on Thursday morning, or send me an email, and I'll answer this as quickly as I can. Okay, thanks for listening, everybody. Your diagnostic exam will be next.